In this video, I'd like to dissect the different aspects of the Contending Tides event from my experience and what I think implications for future content in Genshin, and also have us consider opinions of other content creators and see what they think. I've shown a couple clips in the background, the first being my run with Klee where I was not able to finish the fourth stage, followed by trivializing the first two stages using Venti and the inherent problem of using Hydro Slimes on the second stage when most people have a Pyro DPS, showing how the stage could be cleared with basically no support units, and then finally showing the Hu Tao run of clearing stage 4, followed by trying the stage at extreme difficulty on a free-to-play account and failing miserably because at that point my AR40 account has not invested into artifacts and it's not using any trivializing or hyper-invested units. Here we can listen to Tectone giving us his opinion before this event dropped and what he'd like to see in Genshin.
So the event's going to be called Contending Tides Event, Challenge the Arena and Win Primo Gems, which is something that sounds pretty damn good to me. In case you don't know, I've been advocating for like an endless wave mode, a mode where you can test the limits of your account, because I'm going to say this one time, why the fuck am I farming for these dope ass artifacts if I have literally nowhere to actually test their full potential? Okay, listen, I know we think the Spiral Abyss is truly the gatekeeper of Genshin Impact, but I'm gonna be real, my account can beat in about 20 seconds, okay? So I need some harder content. This seems like what it is, okay? Yo, Mahone, can we get Spiral Abyss hard mode for fun? Just for fun, dude. I don't want reward, just for fun. Yeah, get this, I actually like the Genshin Impact content. I can use some harder enemies to fight, and also, I'm pretty sure free-to-play wouldn't mind seeing enemies they couldn't beat either in order to fuel the spark of continuing the grind of artifacts every single day.
I'd like to play the first impressions that Sekapoko and Mtashed had while they did this event, and then I'd like to talk a little bit about what I thought.
Okay, so we've done the challenge. It took 1 minute. So that was the biggest joke of all time. Thank you for the hardest content I've ever seen in Genshin Impact ever. Oh my god, so difficult. I finished it within 1 minute. Mihoyo, that's a little too easy. This new event's a joke. Can you please make it harder? Because that was too easy. I mean, this is my Battle Pass Welkin only account, and I'm able to do this like in 1 minute.
Hold on. Wait. Hold on. Did I get baited? Wait. Hold on. Wait. Have I been debated? Please tell me no. Please tell me no. There has to be more. Half of these are defeated already. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. I'm a free-to-play god, but it's like shooting fish in a barrel. It's like shooting fish in a barrel. Oh no.
Mtashed was using a very powerful team, and obviously it was overkill for this event. The first stage is called Welcome to Easy Mode, so it wasn't designed to be hard. To make it a little bit more challenging, you probably don't need to use a Venti, a Ganyu, a Zhongli, and a Bennett. Optimizing your characters and using the best possible builds or DPS or support units should not take away the element of a challenge from the content of the game. Players want challenges at late game where they don't need to hold back but still struggle to complete the content. The difficulty of this is that all accounts are very different, and even the same characters can be at different power levels depending on their artifacts, weapons, and constellations. Accommodating for everyone's power level can be a bit tricky, but it needs to be done, as most people who have started playing from the beginning of the game's launch are now at AR55 and getting pretty bored. For 6 months, the hardest content of the game that is permanently available has been Spiral Abyss. MiHoYo needs to realize that endgame players desperately want something harder to chew on. None of the endgame content is able to test the limits of their account and effectively challenge them. Daily commissions are too easy by design, which is a good thing because nobody wants to spend 4 hours doing 4 daily commissions, but there's nothing challenging left that players can return to every day to attempt. The solution that I would propose is to add content that very few, effectively only late game players, would be able to complete. Ideally, things such as endless wave modes or even just leaderboards can promote some kind of competitive nature and progression. Many people want to experience a sense of progression with their accounts. I think that the best way for late game players to still have fun in Genshin Impact is to spend time building new characters. None of us have built everyone, but I understand that not everyone wants to go and build a level 90 Amber to clear Spiral Abyss because they're bored. Overinvested, or basically the best 5 stars in the game, with their 5-star weapons, are going to have an easy time even with a couple buffed up midi-churls or hilly-churls, especially when you're using the best supports such as Venti or Zhongli to lower resistance and to group enemies up. Let's talk about Mtashed's team that he used during the first day. He has a Zhongli and a Ganyu on the same team. Zhongli is one of the few characters who can decrease resistance and therefore increase very easily basically any main DPS's damage. There's no argument that Ganyu is one of, if not the best damage dealers in the game. It wouldn't make any sense if players with the best damage dealers and the best supports were not actually able to clear the content. Sekapoko was using a low spending account and Mtashed was using a free to play account. If you watch Enviosity's videos of him working on this event, he's using extremely hyper-invested starter characters, but he's also leveraging the event bonuses that were added in order to make it easier. If the content was actually that difficult, then most new players would not actually be able to complete it. I believe that this is a prime concern that MiHoYo is trying to avoid. So far, they've always released content that everyone can complete. A large problem that I would like to point out with Genshin is how certain characters are able to trivialize content. These include Venti, Zhongli, Ganyu, Xiao, and most recently Hu Tao. These units are extremely powerful even just by themselves, and when you hyper-invest into them with perfect artifacts, then they're able to clear content such as this very, very easily. A main problem that a lot of the dedicated players of Genshin are having is that the offer difficulty for events and in-game content has been trivialized by them utilizing the best characters of the game, never mind using constellations of 5-star characters and also their best in slot weapons. This isn't to say that only whales are finding the content easy. Players who have built up their main perfectly by farming artifact dungeons for months and getting perfectly rolled artifacts are also not able to reach their limit and are clearing all of the content extremely easily. Here we can hear Mtashed giving his opinion on what he would like to see and the fundamental problem with late game Genshin.
I understand that I do complain a lot about this game. It's because I want to be challenged. I want to feel like there's a meaning to having all these characters, and I want to feel like there's a meaning to upgrading all these artifacts, and I understand that they need to make things accessible for people, but the longer I play, and the further I get into the game, and the stronger I get, the more boring a lot of these events get, because I can beat them in 20 seconds with no challenge whatsoever. And I fear that other people, as they get further and further and further into the game, they're going to feel the same as me. And I understand that I'm a sweaty tryhard with a cracked account. But I fear other people are going to get there too. And, you know, fighting a bunch of hilly churros in an arena is cool and all, but it doesn't feel that much different from just doing a daily commission. And honestly, the time sink was kind of like doing a daily commission. And I just keep hoping for more. I think that there are some positives here. Everyone likes free rewards, but at the same time, you know, if they keep giving us primo gems and they keep giving us books and keep giving us this, you know, eventually our accounts are going to be cracked, and where are you going to use it? What is going to challenge you? What is your drive? For some people, they don't care about raids, and they don't care about endgame content the way I do. I understand that I'm a very different player, but I look at the argument, well, just play it as a side game. I don't know if even playing it as a side game long term is going to be that fun. I don't know if logging in for 20 minutes to do daily commissions is something that is even worth that 20 minutes long term if there isn't some greater chase, some greater meaning to the game.
In my opinion, the advice that I would give to MiHoYo is that they need to realize that endgame players want more challenging content, even at the risk of them not being able to complete it. The different power levels of players, in my opinion, could be categorized as such: new players, invested free-to-play players, invested low-spending players, and finally, invested whales. Most content creators fall under the invested whales category, where they have put hours and hours into the game and have extremely powerful characters, oftentimes with their best in-slot 5-star weapons and multiple constellations. A Hu Tao with a Staff of Homa is completely different from a Hu Tao with a Blackcliff polearm, and a Constellation 6 Hu Tao with a Constellation 5 Staff of Homa is also on a completely different level. This kind of overinvestment has resulted in a lack of difficulty of content, as MiHoYo probably didn't expect very many people to become so invested in the game.
Early on, finding chests, doing the quest, building your first characters, getting your first 5 stars, all of that is incredible. It is amazing. But right now, we're in such a lull in the game with no real reason to play that it gets harder and harder each day to log in and care about doing those little incremental grinds and little upgrades. Because I know at the end of the day, the more days that I spend grinding, the faster I'm going to beat all these little events and be this salty pile of trash. Right? I'm a free-to-play player on this account, and I've already hit the point where I just destroy everything. And I know you'll get there too. And if you spend some money, you'll probably get there even sooner. And I'm just hoping for more. I know that I'm ranting once again, but I just thought that this event was gonna be bigger. I thought it was 3 fights in each with different difficulties and different enemies, and maybe I overestimated it. It's just when I saw the trailer, I saw the stuff, I was like, damn boy, he's thick.
Depending on where one is in the progression of the game, namely in artifact quality, determines how easy some of the content is. Once you do have perfect artifacts, then very many things become much easier to do. I find that Genshin Impact is a very interesting game, as there's people at very different levels and they're all presented the same content, and so some find it boring and others don't, and it bothers others more than it does some people. For example, the Windbloom event was a very specific type of event with lots of mini games and effectively no fighting involved, unlike the Contending Tides event. So people who liked the mini games didn't really mind it, but people who liked actually fighting with their characters didn't find it so interesting and were a little bit disappointed with it. So it's a little bit difficult because MiHoYo has to cater to everybody's tastes and wants. Also, one other point I'd like to make is that sometimes developing content takes a lot longer than you'd think. They do have a lot of capital, so they can hire many programmers, but in order to get it right, such as the scenery that Genshin Impact was able to create in their open world, can take an extremely long time. Genshin Impact was a game that was developed over many years, I think. I forget exactly how many, but because we didn't have any expectations and didn't hear of it, they had the time to basically take their time with it and do exactly what they wanted. Now that Genshin is such a big game, I think one thing that we forget is that it's a little bit blown out of proportion, and our expectations are almost greater than the scope of their projects that they've aimed to achieve. We have to remember that Genshin was effectively initially designed just to be a mobile game. The fact that it is so successful now presents MiHoYo with an opportunity and potential that they need to sort of identify and then choose if they want to utilize. And that's what lots and lots of content creators are advocating for and they want to see. But I think I'm gonna end the video there. Thanks for watching, and I'd be interested to hear your opinions in the comments below. Also, I'm working on math videos, but I'm a little bit busy with school, so there might not be some math videos for a while, but they will be coming eventually. So stay tuned for those, although it might take a couple months for me to write my programs and to get my math to the level I want it to be at. Thanks again, and bye.